How's it going, everybody? This is Darrin with GuitarControl.com bringing you this video lesson, and today I've got 3 fun and easy alternative rock riffs. Right now Guitar Control is giving me this really cool free chord chart. There's a link in the description where you can download yours. It's in PDF format. It just has every chord you could ever need all neatly compiled onto one sheet, so you can print it off, put a copy in your gig bag, put a copy where you practice, so just whatever situation you're in, you can have any chord you need at a glance. So be sure to click on the link in the description for the tabs, and let's get close up and take a look at these. Alright, so the first one we're going to look at is the riff from Island in the Sun by Weezer. So this one is just made up of a bunch of triad shapes. So if you've seen any of the lessons I've done on triads, you probably already know these. But the first one here, if you just take your regular D minor chord shape and just move it up a whole step. So that way your second finger is on the 4th fret of the G string, and your first finger is on the 3rd fret of the B string, or excuse me, on the 3rd fret of the high E string, and your 3rd finger is on the 5th fret of the B string. So that's our first chord, and we strum this as a quarter note on 1. And then we strum it again on the downbeat of 2. And then on the end of 2, we're going to change chords. So when we change chords, we're going to simply just take our ring finger here and we're going to lay it down. We're going to bar it here so it's picking up the 5th fret of the G, B, and high E strings. And we hit this on the end of 2, and then we hit it for beat 3. So then on the downbeat of 4, we have a mute strum. So if you just release the pressure, so you're just touching the strings lightly, so that way you just get that percussive sound. And then we come down to your regular D major shape, and we hit that on the and of 4. So that's the first measure. And we hit that on the and of 4, and it's tied to the downbeat of the second measure. So then on the and of 1, we hit this again. Then we do that mute strum, and then we're going to come up to our last chord. Here, this is like a first inversion triad on the first 3 strings. So my first finger is barring the 3rd fret of the high E and the B string, and my middle finger is picking up the 4th fret of the G string. And we hit that on the and of 2, and then for beat 3 and 4. So the whole thing. And then it just repeats. Alright, so the next one we're going to look at is the riff from Creep by Radiohead. So this is just using bar chords here, mostly kind of revolving around, well, it's all revolving around this major shape with the root note on the low E string. So we start off with G major. So what I'm doing is I'm just barring all the way across all 6 strings at the 3rd fret, and then my second finger is going to the 4th fret of the G string, my 3rd finger to the 5th fret of the A string, and my 4th finger to the 5th fret of the D string. So this shape, we're going to be moving it around. So we start off and we just pick, starting on the low E. So we go E, A, D, G, D. And it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's kind of weird because it's all 8th notes except the second to the last note is a quarter note, so it just rings out a little bit longer. Then starting on the second measure, we start picking, still on the same chord, start picking on the B string, B, G, D, G, and then B, D. So that's our first 2 measures. Okay, then starting on the 3rd measure, we're just going to take this shape and we're going to move it all the way up. So we're at, well, not too far. So we're here at the 7th fret. I'm barring at the 7th fret. And so now this is B. And we're going to do a similar kind of picking. So we're going to start with the low E to A to G, D, A. G again. So that's measure 3. Then starting on the 4th measure, we have B suspended 4. So we're going to keep this shape, but how I do it is I just take my pinky and I just lay it down so it picks up the 9th fret of the G string. Then you just roll it back up for B. So it only does that just for that single note. It's just to get that single note in there. Alright, then for the next measure we just move this up a half step. So now we're doing C major. E, A, G, A, E, G, A. Now that's measure 5. So now we're going to go to C suspended 4. So we can do that same thing. We're going to take our pinky and roll it up. So we're going to pick up the 10th fret of the G string, back to the A string, and then roll back up to be on C again. G string, A, G, D. And then on the next measure it's C minor. So we just take your middle finger off. And that completes the progression, and then it just starts over again. So when you're playing this, it's really easy to end up missing a string. Like you mean to go to play the D string, but you play the G string instead, or vice versa, something like that. It still sounds good as long as you have that same timing. So there, I just kind of winged it and just kind of went with that for that rhythm. So that's what I recommend that you really do. You can use the notation for the timing, and then try to pick those strings accurately. But if you miss one, just pretend like you hit the right one, so that way you can just keep the flow of the song going. All right, and then the last one we're going to look at is "Believe" from Yellowcard, and this is the acoustic version. So we've got F sharp minor. So I'm barring all the way across all 6 strings at the 2nd fret, and then my 3rd finger is on the 4th fret of the A string, 4th finger on the 4th fret of the D string. So we've got an F sharp minor, we've got a D, an A, and an E. The strum is the same, and so each measure is 1 chord. So we start off with the F sharp minor, and we play a quarter note. So it's 1, 1, and then on the downbeat of 2, it's a mute strum. So I go 1, 2. So you just release the pressure. So when you just hit the strings, it just gives that percussive sound. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So after the mute strum, it's a quarter note. So this is 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So that's the strum for each chord. To D, A, E, and then it just repeats. So there you have it, 3 fun, not too terribly difficult alternative rock riffs. So if you like this lesson, be sure to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below if you have any questions about this or other guitar-related topics. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that we upload throughout the week. Well, that is all I have for you today. Thanks for watching and have a great day.